Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. And we have a treat this morning. We have Mr. Greg Dickerson back for a fourth conversation. How you doing, sir?
Doing great. Michael, how are you?
Thank you so much for doing this. This is a topic I wanted to ask. I think I am early on something again. I've talked about the Fed raising rates 50 basis points for 6 months. I have another early call that I've not seen out there. And that is, Greg, I think the unemployment rate will be 4.5% or higher by December. No one's talking about it. It's 3.9% today. I wanted to know what you thought of that. How does that hit you? Just the first time you've heard it?
Yeah. So you're saying we're going to have more unemployment?
Correct. It's going up. It's not going down. It's going up.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's so many jobs available now. The only reason unemployment is so high right now is because people just, don't want to go back to the workforce, and so many people have exited. So, that's a tough one to try to peg. I think that, if markets continue like they are and, people's portfolios continue to lose, a lot of people are going to have to go back to work. They're going to feel like they want to build those reserves back up and enter the workforce. It's a lot of what we're seeing right now is because of the supply chain issues, because, a lot of places are still shut down, still constrained. You still have Omicron out there, creating problems. I think we're still underemployed by choice, not because of, where we're at.
Yeah, let me just play it out again. This is a set of dominoes. Again, I call stuff early. When you're right, you look amazing. When you're wrong, you look like an idiot. I'm okay with that. But sort of what you've just said. So one of the things you have to know about the unemployment numbers, they have this participation rate. One of the reasons it's showing 3.9% today is because participation rate's down almost 2%. I think it's like 1.7 from historical norms. I believe we're in a market, as we've talked about in the first couple of videos, where stocks are going to go down, portfolios are going to be hit, and those people who retired early are going to boomerang and come back. Thus, I expect participation rate to go up, which will have an impact on the rate going higher. The second thing I believe is going to happen is the consumer is going to start to change their behavior. See video number 3, which means they're going to save more, spend less, which is going to mean businesses have less sales and businesses will shut down some of those open recs. So I believe the economy in the US is worse than most people expect. I believe this event in the market, the event in the market is going to come down. I think the Fed's going to be hawkish, which is going to mean 2022 is not fun for most people. I don't have a rosy picture about 2022. So that's kind of the dominoes.
Yeah. And that's what the Fed is, another thing they're contemplating and worried about is, stagflation, right? Where they have, high inflation, low growth, and, they are facing that. It's kind of really hard to detect right now because when you look at earnings and things like that, prices are up so much, it's affecting that. So it looks like, it's looking like revenues are up, things like that, but it's just, prices are up. So your sales are obviously going to go up, your revenues are going to go up. So that's kind of a weird number to look at. We know inflation is already changing people's behavior. People are pulling back on, discretionary spending right now. We just, until we see where things land and what the Fed really decides to do and the impact that has on the markets, it's going to be really, really hard to know and to understand where we're going to land. But you're right. If, we continue to see devaluation in assets, housing markets, things like that, where people's wealth is really, really affected and destroyed, that's going to affect their spending habits, which will affect growth, which in turn affects employment. So I think we're so underemployed right now, kind of like housing, we're so undersupplied right now that the demand dynamics, the employment dynamics are kind of off. And until that kind of works itself out, I don't think we're really going to know. But, there's a ton of people ready to go back to work, I think, or able to go back to work if they get to the point to where, they have to, and they're worried about their retirement account, their savings, and their wealth. And right now, there's tons of jobs. So
no, I agree.
It's kind of like housing, there's so much demand out there and there's so few houses, but as soon as that, interest rate, conundrum flips and prices start to come down, what does that look like?
Yeah, there's two things I'm watching there. Earlier, I think in the third episode, I talked about the 201k being a joke. What I mean by that is if somebody really starts to say my 401k is a 201k and they're retired, they're going back to work. That's like that. When I see that headline, that's going to be the boomerang and people coming back, participation goes up, unemployment gets pulled up. It's just simple math. But then on housing, if you want an early indication on housing, watch supply. We ended the year under 1 million single family homes. That is unheard of levels. You know how you fix that? Interest rates go up, payments go up, less approvals from bank, people get nervous, they'd rather rent. And all you have to do is watch inventory build. It builds slower, right? It's not fast like the market. But if you watch inventory go from 920 to 1100 to 1.3 to 1, there will be a point where prices come down. It's just not as fast.
Yeah, it can, but if you get like we saw 2008 and 9, if people are trying to sell and the prices don't make any sense, your inventory builds pretty darn fast.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what happened in 08, 09. Values inflated so much, rates went up. So what people could buy, that came down, but prices were still up because people were still, again, real estate is slow moving in the sense of, a flip because people still think in the past. Hey,
Right.
I can still get these numbers that we were getting 6 months or a year ago. Takes a little while for that to unwind. That's how your supply and your inventory levels build, is because sellers are living in a false world.
Sticky.
And a lot of sellers are, if I don't get my number, I'm not selling. So then build, and then eventually people have to sell. Like I said, everybody liquidates sooner or later.
Yeah, this is 2022 is going to be an amazing year, right? It was really, frankly, 2020, 2021 for the most part was easy to make money. All you had to do was put money in and everybody won. 2022 is going to be messy. There's going to be some pain, probably a lot of pain, but opportunities come. I mean, that's just something both you and I have learned, right? As opportunity comes when maximum pain is in.
Well, and for anybody who missed the run up in 2021, this may be a reset and another chance to do it again, because like I said, if it gets really bad, the Fed's going to have to jump back in, and stabilize things, and we could be off to the races again and really be able to take advantage of it. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. I think it's interesting. I do believe I do know, my belief is the Fed's not going to let it get too out of hand. Maybe they let it get down to 30-40% in terms of devaluation in the markets before they jump in and intervene. The problem is there's only so much they can do, because they have to keep inflation in check. So that's the caveat, to all of this is, they have to control inflation. They have to do something about that. So there's really only so much they can do, and which leads to your point that if they can't do anything, prices stay high, markets are bad, people have to go back to work, but yet the economy's contracting, so there won't be any work. That's when you got a real problem.
Exactly.
That's when you've got, recession, borderline, who knows where it goes from there.
I've been calling a recession. I think a recession is in the making before the first half of 2023. So interesting time. So Greg, I appreciate all your time. Thank you for the 4 videos. How can people find you?
Yeah, gregdickerson.com. That's where all my info lives. YouTube channel, podcast. You can find the links there and go check it out.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.